So this is what you're gonna get. You're gonna get unfiltered long form content. And this is what we doing, man. Today we talking about Deion, man. So first off, before we get this out, I'm black, just so you know, just before we get into all this shit. So I'm gonna give you my perspective as far as a lot that's going on. And I'm not even gonna preface it with nothing. I'm just gonna let you know what I think of some things. And then we gonna get to the people's narratives because I really don't have a problem with Deion at this point. So let's go back to, pre Deion being at Jackson State. You see players, as far as basketball players, like Mikey Williams, I'm pretty sure was one of the people who said this. And then you see a bunch of other people as far as like this narrative going on. But I'm pretty sure Mikey Williams was the one who said this. He said something along the lines of, yeah, I'm going to go to an HBCU because think about if all of us, the top recruits, start going to HBCUs, that's going to make so much money flow into these black institutions, and they're going to make it to where the black institutions are powerful because their issues as far as these white institutions, as far as white colleges, with how they treat us, how they talk to us, how they pimp us, and all of this shit. And I'm pretty sure this was before NIL deals when this was said, because that's like relatively new. But he was one of the people who said he was going to change the culture by possibly going to an HBCU as a top recruit. You can fact check that. You could look up and see who said that shit. But that's also a narrative that was going around with black people on Twitter, in real life, wherever you're at. Oh, what if the top recruits started going to HBCUs? So much money to the black community, so much black wealth, so much black institutional wealth, all this shit. Those are the narratives. So once we get past that, it's already a narrative that's running, and you see it on sports talk shows. You see it on, I won't say sports talk shows, but you've seen it on, well, yeah, I mean, they got the podcasts and stuff like that. So you've seen it on sports podcasts. You've seen it. When Deion decides to become a head coach, he gets in where he fits in at Jackson State. And he could have just went there and got his sons there and it just been cool and said, you know what, we going to play some good football and I'm prime and I'm flashy and da-da-da-da-da and all this shit. He could have did all that. Everything would have been Gucci. But what he did was the Jay-Z play. He played on the blackness. He got the people as far as winning them over, not by just going to an HBCU, but by running with the narrative that I already mentioned. Now, this is the thing about this narrative. People forget. No. People act like they forget what the narrative was. They act like they forget that this cat was saying, we gonna do X, Y, Z for these black institutions, all this shit, black excellence through the black program. We trying to get these, undervalued boys a look, We trying to get the college together, black excellence. Black people come together, black. Fuck with me because I'm black, we black. That's what it was. Nigga was giving Martin Luther King speeches and shit like that. A lot of niggas, when he went, now before we get to that, no, we'll just get to it now. A lot of niggas, when he chose to go to Colorado State after year 2, niggas defended it up and down and act like he wasn't doing all the Martin Luther King shit. And we absolutely gonna come back to this Martin Luther King shit. But they tried to act like, why wouldn't he take the opportunity? Well, he wouldn't take the opportunity, or he shouldn't take the opportunity, because he's only put in 2 years at this program. Not even 4 years. Not even 4 years. A typical college grad goes through 4 years of college. I'm not saying a typical football career in college goes through 4 years. But what I'm saying is his whole narrative as far as I want to fix not only the institution, I want to be one of the first people to spark change and start getting this HBCU shit going and da-da-da-da, all that shit. All that Martin Luther King, we shall overcome, black people support us because we black shit. If that's what you was about with all the shit you was saying, you wouldn't have took the first thing that came at you. Now, this is the bail that niggas tried to shoot him. Well, when he got asked in an interview if he would, go over to another college if a better offer came, he said he would. I don't care if he said he would. All that does is expose that he was about to make the wrong decision. I don't even want to say the wrong decision, an immoral decision based on all the narratives and pictures that he painted. Now, I thought about getting all the clips together and all of this shit because people act like they forget. And like I was going to put like a montage of him just talking all this black shit, black excellence, what we trying to do for the kids because these kids is undervalued and black. I was going to get all that shit together, but y'all seen that shit and y'all just tried. And I'm going to give you the proof that you seen that shit. I'm going to give you the proof in the narratives. I'm going to give you the proof in the narratives. So he goes to Colorado State. They don't even got the money to pay this cat, but we all know high profile nigga, like the money's gonna come. They motherfucking stadium gonna be more packed than it's ever been in the existence of the school. And of course, everybody knew that, so it's not even like we was right. Like it was a fact. Everybody knew that was gonna be the case. So I just want to stop there and say, as far as Deion, that is where my gripe with him stops. As far as what he's doing now with his program and stuff like that, I don't have nothing against him. Go win, talk your shit, do what you do. It was just very dishonest and very misleading to say we trying to fix this black institution. We trying to uplift black. Who ain't swag? Y'all remember that? Who ain't swag? Who ain't swag? If I ain't swag, bitch, you was not swag because you didn't even want to stay swag for motherfucking 3 years. So there you have it. Like, niggas forget the who ain't swag shit. Like, niggas forget all that shit. But he goes to this new college. Boom, they get in. Now, as far as football fans, they might have been saying some shit like they gonna get their ass bust and stuff like that. He knew that they was gonna have to build, but he said we coming and shit like that. First week they win, blowout, boom. The narrative then is like, y'all was hating. That's what the narrative was. Like, y'all was hating, y'all didn't believe. Granted, even though he said we didn't believe, I could understand it from his standpoint because there are people in sports media and fans doubting that he was going to have success. And even then, honestly, from what I understand, he pretty much said we're going to have to build. It's not going to come day one. And even when he lost recently, he said something along the lines of get it while you can type shit because we coming still, get it while you can. So he understand what it is. But as far as the narrative, that's basically the narrative right there. Like, like you didn't believe, y'all didn't believe. But this is the thing with the people saying that. Some of the people were saying that because of football opinions. But some of that, as far as like, y'all was hating on him, they saying that to the people who were upset at him leaving Jackson State because he was doing the Martin Luther King, I have a dream speech bullshit. Some of them are saying that to those people, like him winning a fucking football game or two changes that it was very snakish, and that he preyed on black people's will to support black causes to get the rallying behind the shit the way he did. When in all reality, he's a celebrity. He didn't need that, but hey, Jay-Z doesn't need it either. And he preys on that at different times, with things like Tidal, and we won't get deep on Jay-Z because that's not what this is about today, but that's what it is. So that was the narrative the first 2 weeks. Now He gets beat. He gets beat by Oregon. It's an ass whooping. It's okay. Everybody in college sports, as far as all coaches, they deal with an ass whooping. It is what it is. Some people took joy in it. Some people, was happy. I heard the announcers was hating on him and shit like that, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you got all of that going on. Listen, again, nothing against Deion at this point. It's the narrative of the people. Somebody posts something along the lines of, I don't know why people take joy in, Deion getting beat and stuff like that. Well, let's stop there. Let's talk about that. Y'all football fans, right? Notre Dame just got whooped on. The Broncos just got whooped on. They got beat by the Dolphins by 70 today as I'm doing this. Everybody is clowning the Broncos. You're seeing all types of Russell Wilson memes. Niggas are shitting on Notre Dame. All that shit. You know how it goes. Even amongst football fans, y'all do football memes about each other in sports groups and on Facebook and on Twitter and on Instagram. Y'all shit on each other all the time, over the internet all the time. So when Deion loses, now it's personal because we're not talking about Colorado losing to get. No, it's all about Prime. That's what y'all making it about. Y'all making it more than football. Y'all looking at it like, oh man, niggas taking joy in a coach losing. Like niggas wanted motherfucking Ryan Day from O State fired because of the Michigan game last year. They wanted him fired. That's a college coach at a D1 program, a prestigious D1 program. They wanted him fired. Nobody talks about the joy motherfuckers have when O State beats whatever or whatever. But this is the other thing about the Prime shit as far as like the hate and stuff like that and the joy. Prime talk a lot of shit. So it's just like the Mayweather effect. You can't be mad when you have a high profile figure in sports, specifically in sports, and he talks a lot of shit and then loses. It happened. Like, just think about we looked at Dylan Brooks, and Dylan Brooks was popping that he was Papalini, bruh. Big popping it. In the press conferences against LeBron and shit like that. He lose, everybody joke about him. But then, once they joking about him, it doesn't become some of these other narratives. We gonna come back to Dylan Brooks to reference these narratives, but nobody is like, damn, niggas take joy in seeing Dylan Brooks, lose and shit like that. And nobody says that. Let's continue. You got, so that's one narrative. The y'all take joy in seeing him lose. That's weird. All of that shit. And we talking about football fans. This is weird, right? So then after that, you have the narrative that, people are miserable. They don't love themselves. They just got hate in their blood. They just, these are miserable people. We talking about football fans again. Like, are people miserable for clowning Russell Wilson and clowning the Broncos for taking that fucking 50-point whooping? No, nobody ever says that. You've never heard that in your life. You've never heard that in your life. You've never heard that in your life. We not even going to cross-reference that one. We going to move on to the next one, which is the most important by far. I seen somebody say, they started doing weird shit like posting that Oregon got beat by Georgia State before. It's a viral meme and stuff like that. Somebody told them to let it go. That person said it's bigger than football. Then they asked, how is it bigger than football? You know what the response was? The response was, any black person that wants to see a black man fail, a black coach fail and not win is lame and all this other shit. You remember when I said we was going to come back to the Martin Luther King I Have a Dream speech shit? Niggas took that, held on to it, let it brainwash them and get in their psyche as far as what he was doing in Jackson State and this being some black shit for black people and stuff like that. But when it stopped being for black people, you got some people, a lot of people actually, who still held on to that this is for black people shit. Just let that marinate real quick. He told you he was going to HBCUs to basically enriching HBCUs and get kids who didn't have that A1 look, that top tier opportunity to prosper and get the looks so that they could possibly get to the league and all of this other shit. Once we get out of that institution, that black institution that was the glue for a lot of this black shit that he was talking, and he goes somewhere else, these people are still trying to make it a black thing, bruh. There are black coaches all throughout the motherfucking NCAA. And nobody ever says, if you want to see a black coach lose, you lame and you a coon. No, you never see nobody say nothing like that. You never see motherfuckers talk about like, like, if you don't want to see this team win, you must hate black people. Because guess what? Most of the fucking players that dominate the game are black. Like, come on, let's just cut the bullshit, man. Like, we dominate all physical sports around the planet, except maybe soccer. That's really it. Maybe even tennis, like female tennis, like whatever. We're not gonna go that deep. But when we talk about football specifically, we dominate that shit. So there are a lot of black kids that play for Oregon. There are a lot of black kids that play for Ohio State. And I'm not even going to go deeper than that, bro. This is what it is. Niggas don't run anything through a logic filter. Niggas don't understand their own biases. Niggas are emotional. That's what it is. They are emotionally attached to Deion. They are emotionally attached to Deion. So with them being emotionally attached to Deion, guess what type of results you get? You get people saying that if you don't want to see a black coach, you know how much shit Mike Tomlin fucking gets from Cowboys fans and from Browns fans and all these other football fans. Like, yeah, my shit just fucked up. So I don't even know where I was at, but listen, I'm going to wrap it up, man. Listen, this is what it is, man. Niggas have a crazily heavy bias, and when it comes to this shit, they try and make it racial, and they still hold on to the racial shit, even though he's proved that it's really about the money. Must be the money. That was the shit he came in on. That's what the fuck he ended off on. So with all of that being said, niggas is heavily biased, and they biased because of his celebrity. They love his celebrity. He's been around a long time. But when you put that support black people shit behind whatever you doing, boom, you gonna get way more support than you would just as yourself. That's a fact. That's a fact. When you turn it into some black shit, that's just what it is. That's how come Diddy used that shit. Even though I haven't seen Diddy do anything when it comes to the like strictly the black shit, I haven't seen him do anything where he pimped it for a specific cause. I've seen Jay-Z pimp that shit and then tell motherfuckers that they done kneeling. I done seen that shit. So with all that being said, I'm done.